It's a late season NFL Sunday, but tonight here in Storrs, Connecticut, it's college basketball on center stage as UConn getting set to face off against the University of Missouri. Kansas City, all the action right here inside Gampel Pavilion. The opening night win over Morehead State for the Huskies, significant on a number of fronts. Dan Hurley made his coaching debut, and then the Huskies put 4 in double figures. The senior guard, Jalen Adams, scoring in a variety of ways. And then Tariq Gilbert back after a season of shoulder surgery. Terrific ball movement, leading to an open shot right here. He had 15 and 4 assists for UConn. And the big man, Josh Carlton, establishing his presence on the low block as UConn got the win over Morehead State 80-70. And a very successful coaching debut here at UConn for Dan Hurley.
It feels great to win. You know, winning is like oxygen. I tell you what, I give a lot of credit to Morehead. They made some tough shots. They got some really good guards. I think they're going to have a really good year in their league. But I love the way our guys came out and played and were real aggressive and attacking. So it feels good. Feels good to get one under our belt.
What can you say about the confidence of Josh Carlton?
Well, you know, Josh, quite honestly, you know, when you're looking at a potential job to take over, you look at the young players in the program, and he's one of the reasons why I took the job. He's a guy with a ton of talent and ability, and he's really just starting to come into his own right now.
Josh Carlton going to look to build upon his sensational opening night performance as UConn getting set to play University of Missouri, Kansas City. It's the first all-time meeting between these two programs, and all the action coming your way right here on SNY. It's a battle of the American Conference and the Western Athletic Conference. UConn going up against the University of Missouri, Kansas City. And tonight's UConn men's basketball game on SNY is brought to you by Connecticut Lighting Centers and Restoration Lighting Gallery Centers. So much more than just a lighting store. UConn men's basketball on SNY is brought to you by the all-new 3-row 2019 Subaru Ascent, featuring all-wheel drive. Love is now bigger than ever this fall. By People's United Wealth Management, where your financial future is a layup. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all. Hi, everybody. Gary Apple back alongside Tim Wells, and so great to have you with us here in Storrs, Connecticut tonight. Fun to watch Dan Hurley, his debut on the bench here at Connecticut a couple of days ago, and his team played with such energy and such pace, Tim.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And if you've watched his teams over the years, there was no doubt he was going to provide that energy, that infusion of toughness into this basketball program and this team. They needed it, and they got it on opening night, not only from their players, but from the coach, flying in from the sidelines just to appreciate that hard work.
Well, we heard Jalen Adams say he had never seen a coach do what Danny Hurley did right there, running over to help his player up from right underneath the basket. Tariq Gilbert back in the starting lineup for the UConn Huskies after missing a couple of seasons with shoulder surgeries. How does he change the story for UConn when he's on the floor?
Well, we really didn't know what UConn had in Tariq Gilbert from a year ago. All he did was basically play injured, so he didn't play well. He made bad decisions. He didn't play the point guard spot very well. He took a lot of ill-advised shots. The other night, he ran the team well, shot it when he was open, pushed the pace, and defensively, really a good on-ball defender at the top, and which is so important in Danny Hurley's system because they want to do that. They want to extend the defense and put pressure on the guards.
Tariq Gilbert, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists in that opening game, the win over Morehead State. Connecticut coming in 1-0. Missouri, Kansas City at 0-2. We got to check starting lineups presented by Subaru. Same starting lineup for UConn that we saw on opening night. And then it's McKissick and Bishop, the 2 guards for the Kangaroos, who bear watching. They're both averaging double figures so far through their opening couple of games. Another nice crowd here at Gampel Pavilion. They had a sellout on opening night, so there's excitement in the air here for the Dan Hurley era.
Well, there certainly is, and there should be. They just look ready to have a good season. How good? I think that they're a type of team that's going to get better. There's no doubt about it as the season progresses and they understand what Dan wants. But They're going to beat some people some nights where you say, how did they do that? But you know how they did it? They're going to do it with a lot of grit, and it starts with their guards. And the other night they played sometimes even 4 guards at one point, but they're going to have some productivity from the front line, and Carlton will be a key.
Josh Carlton goes up to win the opening tip for the Huskies. Tariq Gilbert starting in the backcourt. We have a quick whistle. Shot clock apparently was not synced up with the game clock. Nathan Farrell over at the scorer's table. He's on the officiating crew tonight with Doug Chose and Jose Carrion. There's a look at the head coach at Missouri Kansas City, Kareem Richardson. This is 6th year on the job.
UMKC has really struggled in their first 2 games against Loyola Chicago, obviously a Final Four team a year ago in Iowa. And their problems have been on the offensive end, really dreadful. 32% from the floor, 17 assists, 26 turnovers. They have turned their opponents over, though, 30 times in 2 games.
They played Iowa a little bit tougher than they played Loyola in their second game, as Huskies cannot convert on their opening possession. This is Xavier Bishop, the junior out of Springfield, Illinois, just 5'8", and that's a little bit generous. Danny Dixon, little hook shot in the lane, gets it to go. A transfer from George Mason, putting the Roos on the board first.
Well, the one thing that UMKC does have that Moorhead did not have is some size up front. So they will challenge and defend Josh Carlton a little bit differently than Moorhead State
Tyler
did.
Polley cannot get it to go. That's what he does well. He's a three-point shooter. He needs to make those shots if he's going to stay on the floor. Jump shot too hard off the back iron. There's Jalen Adams, little up fake creating for himself. Knocks down the first bucket of the game for the Huskies.
That was smooth as silk, and Jalen Adams is starting to get it. And that means he's understanding what Dan Hurley wants on a day-to-day basis.
Well, Jalen Adams battled through foul trouble in that opening game, was on the bench for about 12 of the 20 minutes in the first half, and there's good weak side defense. Here come the Huskies. They look to run at every opportunity. Gilbert gliding in, and he's knocked from behind. Alir Leak committing the foul, going to send Gilbert to the free throw line.
Well, this is a clinic, Gary, in rotations. They double the ball screen, show out hard. They rotate from the backside, and Adams comes over and helps the helper, and that's what you have to do. In that possession, I'm sure Dan Hurley was very, very happy because Polley did a good job of rotating out in the corner, and then Adams did a nice job of covering for him.
Well, Gilbert, in his limited time a season ago, he played in just 6 games for hurting that shoulder again. Shot just 55% from the free throw line, so that's something he needs to improve on. UConn full court pressure, and that's a signature of Dan Hurley.
They're trying to wear you out, and you can't just throw this on without practicing it on a day-to-day basis, because this is a tiring type of defense. Everybody in a great stance, active with their hands, communicating.
And a whistle going to get Josh Carlton underneath. That's his first personal. Danny Hurley told us earlier today he's going to be very interesting to see how Josh Carlton responds after that first game, that big first game, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 8 of 10 shooting. Can he build upon that and put together back-to-back strong games?
Well, the thing that was impressive besides the actual numbers, Gary, is how he did it. The footwork was good. He felt comfortable on the floor. He carved out good position and demanded the ball.
Long three by Xavier Bishop. Bishop named preseason all-WAC second team, and that's a kickball going to stay with Connecticut.
And the other part of Carlton's game, which really allowed him to get better as the game went on, is his conditioning. His body is trimmed down, and he's tighter. He looks like he's in great physical condition.
This is Christian Vitale, who gets the 3 to go.
Now that's what they need, Vitale, to start making some shots.
Look at the hustle right here. Jalen Adams on the floor. That's a jump ball, and the possession arrow goes over to Morehead State. But, man, you've got to love, if you're Dan Hurley, to see that sort of an effort.
Again, the full court pressure, and they are going to attack UMKC from the get-go, from coming out of the locker room. They know that they don't have a good ball handling team, and keep rotating the guards defensively and get up and get after it.
Kareem Richardson has made many stops along the way. He was on Rick Pitino's staff, Louisville, 2012-2013 season when they won the national championship. Again, knocked away by Jalen Adams.
And UMKC, unless they change their scheme here, they're going to have a long night, Gary, against this pressure. They're really not running any type of press offense. They're just trying to get it in by hoping it in, and UConn's going to eat that up.
Well, Xavier Bishop being guarded by Tariq Gilbert. Bishop, tricky dribble, good extra pass. McKissick in the corner, off the back iron. Jordan Giles goes up to get the offensive rebound. The big man, Alir Leak, stepping away to knock it down.
Leak's got a smooth touch for a big guy from the outside. Looks really comfortable from the perimeter.
Whistle away from the ball. It's going to be on Alir Leak. So that's 2 early fouls on Alir Leak, and quickly off the bench. Brandon Suggs at the table going to check in. There's Vitale hoisting up another one.
Xavier Bishop better get into the gaps a little bit more. He's kind of dribbling out the clock on that last possession. UMKC struggling with the pressure.
This is Giles. McKissick. Shot clock under 10. Now Dixon trying to go to work on Polly on the low block. Throws up the baby hook, and he gets it to go. Pure for Danny Dixon, who's now got 4 early points here for the Kangaroos.
Kangaroos showing a little bit of offensive spark, only averaging 54 points a game on the season. 10 early here in the first 4 minutes.
Gilbert, left corner, high arcing jump shot. There's Jalen Adams getting it done again, and that stroke looks extremely pure here early on.
Very comfortable off the ball and understanding where he's going to get his opportunities.
5 early points now for Jalen Adams, and we spoke about it on opening night. Man, the game looks like it's coming very easy to him right now. Dixon again trying to go to work on Polly, this time over the left shoulder, cannot finish. This is Gilbert. Backs it out. Vitale. Well, he's not afraid to fire it up there from long range.
I want to hear about being afraid. He better start being afraid, or else he's going to be having some time on the pine.
Tyler Polly bumped, and it rolls in. Chance at a conventional 3-point play here for Tyler Polly.
An opportunity in transition. This is where UConn is at its best. Usually it's the guards, but this time Polly finishing with a little muscle.
UConn has the early lead over Missouri Kansas City, 11-10 here, just over 15 minutes to go in the first half. One of the signature moments of the opening night win for UConn against Morehead State was this play late in the game when Josh Carlton went diving into the front row of seats, and then here comes the head coach flying over. Dan Hurley, don't see that every day, and with more on that, we welcome in the third member of our crew. It's Maria Marino. Hello, Maria.
Hello, Gary. Thank you. Coach Hurley wants his team to be known as the hardest playing in the country, and he says that starts with him. So when Josh Carlton showed maximum effort in the second half of that season opener, Hurley made it a point to rush over, pat him on the back, and to acknowledge the effort. He told me today that was a message about caring more and making every possession life or death. And if you can believe it, Gary, Coach will look to be even more intense tonight.
All right, Marie, we thank you. And Tim, listen, you spent so many years on the sidelines at Iona and Providence, and every possession for you coaches is life and death.
It is, and everyone has their own way of presenting that special part of the game where you have to present that energy to your team. But I've followed Dan for a long time, watching a lot of his games at Rhode Island. He was a kinder, gentler Dan at the end of his Rhode Island tenure, but he's cranked back up because this team needs that energy from him, and they have to understand he's giving it to him.
Alterique Gilbert almost makes the steal on Rob Whitfield, who just checked into the game for Missouri Kansas City, but it stays with the Roos. Wholesale changes for Missouri Kansas City. Jamel Allen is into the game along with Whitfield and Brandon Suggs, number 22. And another quick whistle. They get Jalen Adams. That's his first personal and the second on Connecticut.
Well, they may have to back it up a touch, Gary, if they continue to foul a little bit. But, you know, they're smelling blood right now because they understand UMKC does not have a very good ball handling team.
Jordan Giles going to work on Terrence Smith, who's just into the game, and it's tipped up and in. Second chance point right there for Jamel Allen. Gilbert getting into the teeth of the defense and then spotting Polley. That was all set up by Alterique Gilbert.
Absolutely. And, you know, again, we were talking about earlier today how they have a very good understanding early in the season of where everyone is going to be out there on the floor.
The big man, Suggs, cannot finish. And he commits a foul on the way back down the court.
Well, UConn really likes to spread the floor, but one thing they constantly do is they put people in each corner. So when you drive the gap and feel that help coming from the weak side, you know you have an opportunity to drive and kick to an open man in the opposite corner.
And Tyler Polley now with 6 early points here for UConn. And he is somebody who needs to make shots because he can be at times a defensive liability. He has not put on, I think, as much weight as he needs to moving forward. That's Terrence Smith into the game. He played the most minutes of anybody in the season opener, a little bit over 30. Getting into the teeth of the defense, going to the left hand and finishing off the glass.
He gives them a huge lift, and already in a couple minutes, the energy, toughness, and experience of Terrence Smith.
Terrence Smith, the grad transfer from Duquesne, the A-10 sixth man of the year a season ago.
Well, he just has that polished play, and you can just see how consistent he is out on the floor on both ends, and Dan has a lot of confidence in him. He's really like a starter, even though he comes in off the bench, but he likes using him off the bench because he just brings a little bit more confidence and a calming effect to the team on both ends of the floor.
Well, Dan Hurley this morning told us he, in many ways, using his term, is a luxury. Somebody who knows the Hurley family very well, played for his dad at St. Anthony, and now comes with Dan here to Connecticut as a grad transfer. He brings energy, he brings the ability to score the basketball, he defends, and there's a trust level there from a coaching standpoint.
And he understands the Hurley way, and that's important, because the Hurley way is going to get a lot of tough love. You know, Dan really cares about his players. You know, you can't coach the way he does unless you, when the switch goes off, understand that he's got their back, and that's the way he coaches, and it's a very, very successful way to do it.
Well, Rob Whitfield, number 2, being guarded by Brendan Adams, the freshman who's also committed. There's Eric Cobb coming over to double team. Battelle ahead for Cobb. He tries to gather. He does gather, and he lays it in. And UConn has the early 19-12 lead.
The slim down Eric Cobb again. The ability to get out in transition and finish at the rim, even after the ball was knocked out of his hands.
Cobb lost 35 pounds this offseason as that one goes off the foot of Whitfield, and it's going back over to UConn.
You can see the pressure starting to get to UMKC. They're getting a little frustrated. They're dribbling into traffic. They're not spaced out on the floor, and they're having major difficulty throwing entry passes to start their offense.
UMKC predicted and picked to finish 7th in the WAC in their preseason poll out there. Patel trying to get it to Cobb, who appeared to have the defense sealed, but it sails out of bounds.
Christian Patel giving Eric Cobb a little look like, why weren't you there? It's because the pass was bad.
McKissick, little jump step. And he's fouled on the floor of the bump before he took off for the bucket. They get Brendan Adams on the foul. That's his first. And the third on UConn here in the first half. Kasum Yakwe is checked in here for UConn. He played just 1 minute in the opening game. He's dealt with foot issues throughout much of the preseason, but Dan Hurley likes what he brings to this team from a rebounding and a defensive standpoint. Bishop into the right corner. That's not even close. Gilbert to Smith. Mid-range jump shot on the way. The art of the mid-range jump shot.
The art of taking your time, squaring up, being balanced and confident out of transition.
4 quick points now for Terrence Smith, and UConn has opened up an early 21-12 lead as we're under a dozen minutes to go here in the first half. And again, quick hands by Terrence Smith, who does not like the call, but I think they're going to get an offensive foul. They're going to call that on Jamel Allen, trying to get through that. So UConn has the lead with under 12 to go in the first. To say hello, Hurley, as head coach Dan Hurley leads the Huskies in his first game at the XL Center in downtown Hartford on Tuesday, November 20th at 7 p.m. against Cornell. Tickets start at just $12 at UConnTickets.com. UConn basketball, it's a Connecticut thing, and UConn getting it done defensively here in the first half.
Well, the rotations have been absolutely perfect. You talk about the pressure and the overplay on the perimeter, but this is good execution. This is 5-man basketball, 5-man defensive rotation, communication. And you have to do this every day in practice. See the ball, see the man, but be ready to move, have your head on a swivel, and be active and ready for the opportunity. And UConn has done all of that so far tonight.
So Eric Cobb, in many ways, forcing that turnover right there and then being rewarded at the other end as we get a check of turnovers. And Connecticut has made the most of them with 6 points off turnovers. University of Missouri, Kansas City started 3 of 5 from the field, but now 2 of their last 7 with 4 turnovers, and so that defense is paying dividends. It's Terrence Smith trying to work around the Yakwe screen. Good rotation. Patel, jump step, off the window, not even close. Knocked away, going to stay with the Huskies.
Christian Patel's got to be aware. He's forcing the issue on the offensive end. His numbers have not been good so far offensively, and it's really about his shot selection. Just taking it down a notch. You want him to play fast and furious. That's the way he plays, but he's got to make better decisions.
Shot clock winding down at 2. Smith has got to launch it up there. Can't get it to go. And there's a push-off on Dixon inside. And it's going to stay with UConn.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow for UMKC. They did a very, very good job just holding UConn to the end of the clock, contesting the shot, but just that little shove by Dixon in Cobb's back. Good call.
And that's the second foul on Dixon, and there's Terrence Smith. Boy, he had a lot of room to shoot that, thought about it, and then knocked it down. He's got 6 for the Huskies. Xavier Bishop not on the same page with Brandon Suggs, and it sails out of bounds. Jalen Adams checks back in, replacing Terrence Smith for Dan Hurley.
UMKC is just trying to come down and enter the ball to the wing with a simple little pass, but there's no way they're going to be able to do that against this defense. They've got to change their scheme, use some dribble handoffs, some ball screens, and get some movement on the wings, or maybe some down screens for the wings to get open.
UConn shooting 60% so far in this first half.
UConn ball.
Watch SNY UConn basketball games anytime on any device with live streaming on SNY.TV and the NBC Sports app, your home for live streaming coverage of every SNY UConn basketball game. Shot clock is under 10. This is Jalen Adams sliding behind the Cobb screen, and that's pure.
That, Gary, is pure and relaxed and comfortable and poised and confident.
That's 8 points now for Jalen Adams. He's 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. McKissick giving it up. Jamel Allen, and he's bumped on his way to the bucket by Yakwe.
I mean, just taking your time, and they're going to run this high ball screen. They go underneath the screen. No pressure, no help, and no communication for UMKC means pure Adams.
Subs for the Roos, number 33, Marvin Nesbitt Jr. For the Huskies, number 3.
Jalen Adams began the night with 1,283 points, 31st on the all-time scoring list here at UConn. He needed 1 point to pass A.J. Price, so he's passed him on the all-time list here at UConn. We're midway through the first half here. McKissick giving it up for Bishop. And he drills the three.
A little bit over helping in that possession by Alterique Gilbert. He bit on the penetration, left his man wide open.
Xavier Bishop 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. This is Yakwe, who began his career at St. John's. He's the grad transfer. Good rotation. Gilbert from the left corner. And boy, that's got to make Dan Hurley so happy to see the basketball move in that fashion.
Well, nice job by Yakwe. He read the double team, and just before the trap came, he pitched it back out, and they quickly reversed it to the complete other side of the floor before UMKC could rotate back.
And that's Jordan Giles traveling. Goes back over to UConn.
This is what you call a team that knows how to play with each other, because he feels the double team. He knows he's got the outlet there, and the quick ball movement. The ball never hits the floor to the other side of the floor for easy open opportunity.
One of the questions about this Connecticut team coming into this season, can they be an efficient team from beyond the arc? Now, they didn't shoot it great from downtown, 7 of 21 in the win over Morehead State. They've made 5 of their first 8 tonight.
And Dan told us that earlier, Gary. He said, you know, we made 7. I want us to see it shoot better. He goes, I think we're going to have to be a team that makes about 9 a game. So he understands that as well, but we've got to have balance.
Patel giving it up inside, and Yakwe finishing. Beautiful two-man game.
Early in the season, but Dan Hurley's got this team playing very, very unselfishly, and they know where each other,
17 fouls, the line,
their teammates are on the floor. That's the key, Gary. They know they get to their spots. It's not overcomplicated, but they have a good feel for each other.
Assume Yakwe was on the All Big East rookie team 2015-2016 season from straight away. That one won't go down for Jordan Giles. UConn has opened a 16-point lead. Carleton was open for a moment. There's Patel. Yakwe working hard.
Well, that's what Yakwe does. He had some very good moments in his career at St. John's, including being on the all-rookie team. And he is a guy that can really give them a lot of energy in the front line. Now they're going big with he and Carleton.
Quick shot, Xavier Bishop. There's Nesbitt causing some contact along the baseline, and they're going to get UConn on the foul. It's Christian Vital who hit the deck hard.
Well, here's one, though, that will be shown in the video room. And even though it's a block, you've got two guys take a charge. Not one, but two.
Well, Vital sticking that leg out right along the baseline.
That was a good call, and the effort was there. The execution wasn't, but another gritty play. Understanding you're not going to the rim against this team without some resistance.
Well, Kasum Yakwe takes a seat. He gave some pretty solid early minutes here for Connecticut. It's knocked away by Christian Vital. But again, I'm going to go back to our open. What you're seeing here is a very active defensive team.
Active and communicating, and they'll just get better because defense is chemistry as well. Just understanding, when to go, when to gamble. The rotations are somewhat complicated, but the overplay is just harassment.
Shot clock at 5 now. Whitfield going to work on Adams, pulling up, 15-footer, too hard, rebounded by Vital, and here come the Huskies. Great crossover, Gilbert wide open. Carlton working on the offensive glass. There's that footwork we saw in the opener. We see it again tonight.
Not only the footwork, Gary, but the ability to go up and snatch in traffic and keep the ball high, not bringing it down to his waist, which he did a year ago where the guards could strip him, but keep it up high and get it up on the rim and in.
It appeared Gilbert might have had the basketball, but they called the foul. And, Gilbert had 17 in the opener. And he's had another strong start here tonight.
When you're a freshman, sometimes you go through growing pains, understanding what you have to do. And this man worked all summer so he could do this. Finish in traffic.
UConn and UMKC were tied at 12 apiece, but UConn has gone on a 23-3 run over the last 7 minutes and 7 seconds to take control.
This is a clinic in pressure man-to-man defense. Just great on-the-ball defense, harassment, and then the overplay on the wing. They can't get their offense even started. They're going side to side and then back again out towards the midcourt, and then on the dribble drive, a containment, a great contest, everybody blocking out, and then off to the races.
Well, Dan Hurley said after their opening night win, he thought they lacked a little bit of the killer instinct. I think we've seen the killer instinct so far in this game.
Well, it's one thing to practice hard and do it all with a new coach for a couple months, and then you go out on the floor, you're not sure if it's all going to come together. So I think at times the other night they played with confidence. At times they played with a little bit of tentativeness, especially on the offensive end of the floor. But I thought their defense was very, very good. And Moorhead made a lot of tough shots. And I think tonight they're playing confident with a relaxed attitude with still that aggression.
Let's
Thanks,
check
Gary.
in right now with Maria.
Hey, Gary. Yeah, I just wanted to point out something quick about Christian Vital, or as his teammates call him, CV. He is a vocal leader for sure. He has an outgoing personality, and it seems like at every huddle, he has some motivational message for the team. And just in that last time out, he said, let's keep it going, keep playing for each other. Back to you.
Well, Christian Vital, 3 points here in the first half for the UConn Huskies. Tyler Polley's checked back in, number 12. Adams loses it. This is McKissick. Back the other way for the Kangaroos. And look at Adams going up to get the rejection.
Goodness.
On the run, here comes Adams giving it up for Polley, and they kick it back out. Carlton was open. They didn't see him. Now they do. Carlton double teamed. And it's knocked away by Brandon Suggs.
Jalen Adams doesn't like to get stripped, especially when he gets fouled, and chase the ball down and elevate it at the rim.
Xavier Bishop, good bounce pass, spotting Brandon Suggs for the stuff.
That's the first time in a few minutes that UMKC was able to break that seal on the perimeter with a little room to spare, get it into the lane.
Gilbert, contact. He'll shoot 2.
It looked like Jalen Adams got hit across the arm on the strip, and then he comes across and back. Very close to goaltending, but glad they didn't call it, because this is an A for effort.
Alfred Gilbert, 2 free throws.
Five points now for Alfred Gilbert, the redshirt sophomore out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Putting in for the Huskies, again, Brendan Adams.
Brendan Adams, the freshman, checks in for Gilbert. Adams showed a pretty smooth stroke from downtown in the season opener. Jordan Giles spinning in the lane, going to the right hand. And it's knocked away, going to stay with UMKC.
Well, help defense is so important. When you're going to pressure on the outside, you're going to get beat a little bit. So you've got to have the rotations coming from the backside, and they have to come early and often.
And I love the no call there by the officials, because Carleton went straight up. You know, there's been an added look for offensive players who create contact to look and not call that on the defense, and I thought that was pretty good non-call right there.
Oh, excellent. You've got a very good crew tonight.
Dixon inside off the pass from Nesbitt.
That time they kind of soft doubled that on the perimeter, and Dan wasn't really happy with that, which caused them to kind of be in no man's land, which allowed the open man on the weak side.
Too hard off the back iron by Brendan Adams. Carleton calling for it in traffic. He's going to shoot 2.
Good work by Carleton on that possession. Terrence Smith gave him the ball. I wasn't sure if it was probably a good decision to give him the ball. He really wasn't open or in a spot where he could do anything with it. He kind of turned into traffic, and UMKC bailed him out with a foul.
Josh Carleton was a 67% free throw shooter a season ago. And read where Dan Hurley said he texted Josh Carleton before the season opener and said, I want to see the Josh Carleton who we saw at legendary DeMatha Catholic High School. That's the guy we want to see.
Well, a lot of people, as Dan said, a lot of people are trying to pluck him from the program with the coaching change and high major, high grade programs. And people value a big guy that has some skill, and he just had to develop it and get his body right.
Jamel Allen, no chance, through traffic. Jalen Adams has it knocked away. Smith picks it up, puts it in off the glass.
That's what Terrence Smith gives you. He's just going to stay with the play. He's got a great nose for the ball and the toughness to finish.
8 points now for Terrence Smith. He's tied for team high with Jalen Adams here in this first half as we're under 5 minutes. It's been all UConn. Another tough shot by Allen, who tries to get into the UConn defense, but they're not giving any ground. Smith giving it up. Adams in rhythm, not even close. Baby hook shot, Danny Dixon. He's now got 8 points to lead the Kangaroos.
Dixon's a pretty good-looking big guy. He's got a nice soft touch. He plays pretty physical on the inside, but the problem with UMKC is their guards just aren't confident with the basketball.
Carleton misses, but stays with it and just imposing his will inside.
For some reason, Dixon's not guarding Carleton, and UConn went right at that mismatch.
Josh Carleton with 6. McKissick into the right corner. Allen follows. Bucket and the foul. Well, UConn may be up 43-22, but Dan Hurley is always fun to watch on that UConn bench.
Well, he thought his team took the foot off the pedal on Thursday night, so he's not going to take his foot off their backside.
3 seconds to go in the first half here at Gamble Pavilion. The bench has been one of the big stories. Terrence Smith has 8, Yaqway has 4, and Cobb has 2. So they've got 14 points off the bench so far, does Dan Hurley's team.
Well, I think Dan's done a nice job of giving his bench early confidence and finding that nice mix of bringing the starters in and out of the game.
Coming up, join Michelle Uvin, Parisi, and Tariq Turner. All your first half highlights and analysis. It's the UConn men's basketball halftime show brought to you by Ford. So they'll be back in the studio in New York just a few minutes.
Solid crew back in
Tremendous crew.
NYC. No more Jets talk today. We're into hoops now. Correct, Gary?
As it should be.
I hate to chuckle, but
I think it was a tough day for your Patriots as well.
well, that's what happens when you play an ex-Patriot as the coach. Sometimes they know your number.
Terrence Smith giving it up for Cobb and then getting it back. It's Cobb and Yaqway into the game for UConn. Shot clock now at 5. Brendan Adams. Look at Yaqway working in there, keeps it alive. Vattel could not finish.
Great job, though, by UConn. Just keeping it alive and pushing them around the rim.
Completely out of control is Xavier Bishop. Back the other way, Vattel spotting Terrence Smith. The two-hand stuff. Great recognition there by Christian Vattel.
Christian Vattel will keep his minutes up if he continues to play like that, unselfishly.
Quickly back the other way. Xavier Bishop not even close. Vattel. I'm not sure that's the shot they wanted. McKissick from way downtown. He buries it. First bucket of the game for Brandon McKissick, who came in averaging 14.5 points per game, leading this UMKC team.
UMKC just playing with a lot of feistiness now on the offensive end, but they've got to execute better, space the floor, just settle down against this pressure.
Terrence Smith. That's a really pretty jump shot, great rotation, and he's into double figures now. He's got 10 to lead the way for the Huskies. Saturday, UConn women's basketball returns to SNY as the #2 ranked Huskies go to take on Vanderbilt from Mohegan Sun. Coverage beginning at 5:30 only here on SNY.
Nice.
Earlier today, the UConn women getting it going with a rather easy win over Ohio State right here at Gamble Pavilion, 85-53. And so Gino has his team out of the gate very quickly. Katie Lou Samuelson sticking around to watch the men here tonight.
I know they were kind of anxious to get going. Their first game of the year today, and Coach Yoriyama settling in on a nice Sunday afternoon, watching the men, I'm sure, somewhere out in his mansion and down the road.
Well, interesting this year, the women are the hunters rather than the hunted. They come in not ranked #1 in the nation. That's Notre Dame. So I guess #2 is not bad.
The role of the underdog.
Dixon trying to go to work on Carlton, going over the right shoulder with the left hand. It's knocked away and it stays with the Rouge.
That was a pretty good move by Dixon. Jose Carrion, has he got a foul?
I played just out of bounds. Dixon sat out last season. He transferred from George Mason, but he brings a bit of athleticism to Kareem Richardson's team.
But it was a good job by Josh Carlton, just kind of holding his way down on the low box and defending pretty good and contesting the shot.
McKissick. Dixon hit on the arm by Christian Vitale. He's going to shoot 2. Early in the season, sometimes it's hard to make sense of some of these teams. There's a Missouri Kansas City team that got destroyed in their opener on the road at Loyola Chicago, team that was the darling of the NCAA tournament a season ago, and then they played much tougher against Iowa out of the Big Ten last time out.
And you know, watching them, you can get a sense that they may have a decent season in their league. You know, they got the bigs that are decent. Their guards are, that's the problem with them right now. It's just having the ability, McKissick, Bishop, even a Whitfield, just to get into the paint and make good decisions with the basketball and pass it to each other. I mean, they're having problems just making the first entry pass against this defense.
UConn has 3 guards on the court: Smith, Gilbert, and Jalen Adams, to go along with Josh Carlton and Tyler Polley. Adams dumping it down. Carlton has it swatted away by Jordan Giles. Giles cannot get it to fall in, but he'll shoot 2. A foul on Jalen Adams. That's his second.
Well, that's what UMKC has to do. Contest on one end, get the rebound, and just go after the block shot. They did a nice job of just pushing the pace, because they have proven time and time again they are not going to be able to run any offense against UConn's half-court pressure.
UMKC has not been a very good free throw shooting team here early in the season. They came in shooting it at just 42% from the line so far this year through their opening couple of games.
Reporting in for the Blues, number 25, Steve Dully.
Number 25, Steve Dully, has checked in here with under a minute to go in the first half. UConn all over UMKC. 47-31. They've been in control the entire first half.
Now a little soft three-quarter court pressure just to see if UConn would panic. And again, very organized. They all knew where they were supposed to be.
Gilbert crossover, spotting Terrence Smith. And again, Gilbert able to get into the teeth of the defense, drawing the defense, leaving the open shooter.
Exactly, and he felt the pressure, and as soon as he felt a little pressure from the help from the ball side, he knew exactly where Terrence Smith was going to be locking and loading.
Brandon Suggs rattles it in. Final 10 seconds here now for UConn. Smith to Gilbert. We're down to 3. Smith launching and not catching any iron, and we go to the half with UConn in control, 50-33. That is the largest halftime lead for UConn over the course of the last year. They're up by 17. The largest season ago was a dozen against South Florida. Let's send it over to Maria. She's with the head coach.
Thanks, Gary. Coach, midway through that half, your team started to pull away. What were you executing so well?
We were just playing with a lot of energy on the defensive end. We were real aggressive with our ball pressure and kind of just flying around, making plays defensively, and getting the ball down the court and playing with a lot of offensive confidence.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Gary, back to you.
UConn shooting at 53. We thank you. 53% in that first half. UConn men's basketball on SNY. Brought to you by Trantolo and Trantolo, Connecticut's personal injury law firm. Let our family help your family. By Nissan, proud partner of the UConn Huskies. Go Huskies. And by Connecticut Lighting Centers and Restoration Lighting Gallery Center. So much more than just a lighting store. Halftime show on the way. Michelle, Tariq, and Vin following a short break. UConn in this first half as they lead UMKC 50-33. The Huskies shot 53%, very efficient offensively, and also getting it done defensively. Very active hands. And what a treat at halftime here. This is the world famous Red Panda. This was the finale, the big finale. And she nailed it. I mean, look at the emotion on the face right there. She gets it done. The crowd loved it here at Gamble Pavilion. Well, one of the things that really was impressive about UConn in this first half, Terrence Smith, the grad transfer, leads everybody with 15 points in the game.
Talk about efficient basketball. 15 points on only 9 shots in only 11 minutes.
Right.
So he's going to go knock on the coach's door, I would imagine, and say, hey, coach, I need a few more minutes, or maybe even a starting job. But he's perfect for them coming off the bench. An experienced veteran, just kind of a relaxed, confident way about him, a ferocious defender, but today showing that ability to create off the bounce, create some space, and knock it in just effortlessly on the offensive end, but on defense, he just gives them that toughness, too, on the perimeter.
Well, Terrence Smith began his college career at Nebraska, then transferred to Duquesne, and then here as a grad transfer. One season, he'll play for Dan Hurley at the University of Connecticut. UConn got 21 points from their bench in that first half, but again, 15 of those came from Terrence Smith. We see the back of Isaiah Whaley. He's not going to play. He is not in uniform tonight. He suffered a sprained ankle in that season-opening win against Morehead State. Well, UConn led by as many as 21 in the first half. They now lead it by 17, and the faithful have begun to make their way here back to Gamble Pavilion.
Well, they have. There's a lot of energy and excitement on campus about this basketball team, and it's really been created by Dan Hurley and what he's done on campus since he's come here. He's really done the right thing. He's got out in the community. He's knocked on the doors of not only the boosters, but he's been involved with the students. And UMKC come out of the locker room trying to change things up with a little 3-2 zone.
Well, UConn opens with the same starting lineup they came out with, the 3 guards, and then Polly and Carlton. The big shot clock now at 5. Polly from the left corner. And Christian Vitale, the rebound, floater in the lane, can't get it to go. Finally, Dixon comes away with it for UMKC. That's 6 rebounds now for Christian Vitale. He's a terrific rebounder out of the guard spot. That one will not go down for McKissick, but he's going to shoot 2.
Number 25, Josh Carlton.
That's the second foul on Josh Carlton.
Second on Carlton, first on the team. Line. Number 3, Brandon McKissick, shooting 2.
So, you know, we've spoken quite a bit since Connecticut joined the American Conference about where they fit best conference-wise. What about a team like Missouri, Kansas City? It's sort of a mishmash out there in the WAC with Grand Canyon out in Arizona, New Mexico State, and where do they fit into this?
Well, you know, I think with Kareem and what he's done with this team, I think obviously they've got some deficiency at the guard spot, but it'll be hard for them to crack the top of the league. And New Mexico State's been the power out there in the WAC, but I like the way they're kind of presenting some toughness tonight. I like Dixon. He's had a nice job, McKissick's done a nice job of handling the basketball, but a little overmatched in this game as they were against Iowa and Loyola.
McKissick trying to get it all the way to the rim, and he's out of control, and it's going back over to Connecticut. That's 8 turnovers on the night now for UMKC.
One thing UMKC can do moving forward, I think they can get out pressure some people. Their guards are pretty quick defensively.
Polly picks up the loose ball. Carlton drops it in. He's going to have a chance at a 3-point play.
Well, Vitale, I think, got away with a little walk on the baseline before that, and officials kind of missed that one. But Carleton, again, keeping the ball high. Look at that, Gary. That's just something he didn't do a year ago. Rebounding the ball, keeping it up over his shoulders, and just going right back up with it. That second jump.
Why is it so tough to teach bigs to do that, to keep the ball up where nobody can get it?
It's just a natural habit, I think. Just they're so big. Just a lot of bigs, they don't have the power, Gary, so they bring the ball down to kind of get low and go back up to get that power from their legs and body, not understanding that they don't have to bring the ball with them when they do get low and go back up to extend.
Floater will not go down for Xavier Bishop. UConn's got 16 points off turnovers as that one's knocked away, going to stay with the Huskies. Patel. He's gone cold suddenly. Look at Josh Carleton keeping it alive. Patel down the lane, banks it in.
Now, if Dan Hurley was allowed, I think he'd run out on the court again and high-five Carleton for that effort.
McKissick right back the other way for the Roos. Brandon McKissick now with 6 points. Carleton going to work on Dixon. Took an extra step as he tried to duck under the rim.
So that's where he's got to understand. Obviously they're going to throw the ball to him, but here's the effort again. Watch this, the second effort, just keeping the ball alive. Second and the third effort by Josh Carleton, and then Vital. Great energy to the rim.
And look at Dan Hurley. Well, he's going to give you, he's talked about every possession, right? Every possession. They are not good enough, he says, to take a possession off.
I think it's every dribble. Dan has coached every dribble since the opening tip Thursday night, and he's got that energy himself, which will really transcend to his players.
Off the Dixon miss. Gilbert is hit from behind.
Well, really the next piece and the next step for Josh Carleton is if they're going to throw him the ball, and he's doing a good job of presenting himself, getting big, carving out space, is then when he accepts the trap or feels the trap or feels like the defender's in a good position, what does he do next? Does he pitch it back out, or does he force the ball to try to score?
Bishop the steal, and not controlled by Jordan Giles. He just lost it. It's going back over to UConn.
Now that's again the presence of UConn on the retreat, staying with the play defensively.
UMKC has gone back to their man-to-man defense. Poly bumped on the way, going to shoot 2.
On number 22.
That foul is on Brandon Suggs.
Second personal, third on the team.
That's his second personal on the night.
This is a little bit what Dan Hurley talked to us about today, Gary, when he just said, you know, we had that lead against Moorhead, but we just couldn't, we never put them away. We didn't put our foot down on their chests and bury them. And it's an important part of the game right now. So they don't need to relax. They need to keep pushing this lead forward.
Well, UConn has led by as many as 21. They now lead it by 20, and there's another turnover by the Roos, and that is their 10th of the game. Missouri Kansas City lost 7 games by 6 points or fewer a year ago. They were in a lot of games, but right now they are not in this game. With just over 16 minutes to go in the second half, they're down big, 56-36. Christian Vital with the shot clock at 10. There's Carleton again keeping it alive in a big collision between Jalen Adams And Brandon McKissick, who hits the deck very hard.
I don't know how Jalen had picked up that foul. I don't know how you determine who the foul was on, but this was a hard one. But Adams looks like he's going to be okay, but he did pick up a foul, believe it or not.
And that is the third foul on Jalen Adams as McKissick hit the deck hard. He's up. They both appear to be okay.
You know, we would play with incredible aggression. We would play fearlessly. Our players were not and aren't afraid to make mistakes because we work so hard in practice. And on game night, you know, we allowed them to go out there and perform. So, you know, our teams are known, my teams are known for being fearless and being the hardest playing teams in the country. And that you were going to be in a physical battle that very few teams in the country could emulate.
And I think we've seen through the opening game and a half of the season for UConn, they do play really hard.
They do, Gary. And here's the thing. Every coach in the country wants and expects his team to play hard. There's no doubt about it. But getting them to do it is another thing on a possession, night-to-night basis. And you know, that's just part of it right there. Jalen Adams, probably in the past, I just shied away from that. Just said, okay, we're up 20 points. This team clearly is not going to beat us. And I'm not going to risk injury to dive in for a loose ball in the middle of the floor. But he did.
Rob Whitfield, number 2, into the game now for UMKC. Shot clock under 10. Dixon, good position. Go to the left hand, off the glass and in over Tyler Polley. Man, he really does get himself some pretty good low block position.
Kareem Richardson's got to be pretty happy with that. There you go, a little pressure. He's got the athletes to press. I'm surprised they don't extend the pressure a little bit more. And then they come down and take a wild shot.
Gilbert to Polley. Fouled by Dixon, he'll shoot 2.
That's a good move by Polley, and he's kind of a standstill shooter, but he's putting the ball on the deck a little bit more tonight, and he finished in the first half at an and 1, and here, just good move, hard penetration right to the rim.
That foul was on Danny Dixon, that's his 3rd. Worth noting here, both Jalen Adams and Brandon McKissick, who were involved in that collision, are both out of the game. Both are on their respective benches, and both appear to be available to come back in.
Reporting in for the Huskies, number 14, Kasum Yakwe.
Kasum Yakwe back in for St. John's. There's Brandon McKissick.
I like what Dan's done. He's given Yakwe and Carlton a little time together in each half, just to kind of get them used to playing with each other. I mean, 2 kind of unskilled guys. He likes to play with 4 skilled players, but you've got to play a little power game as well when they go against some bigger teams this weekend, next weekend in New York with Syracuse, Iowa, and Oregon. So he's going to need that size up front to rebound against those teams.
I thought that might have gone off Yakwe's hands, but it's going to go back over to Connecticut. You know, back to Dan Hurley as we see him right here. He told Steve Serby in the New York Post that he is motivated still to this day, with all the success he's had, by the fear of failure. And that really goes a long way off the steal. And look at Gilbert, stay with it. But Whitfield inside, stuffed by Brandon Suggs. He's got 6 points.
UMKC getting a little feisty on defense and more confident in transition.
Wild hook shot by Josh Carlton.
They need to do this, so they need to run up and down the floor and attack quickly, because they're just dreadful in the half court against this pressure.
Offensive foul.
That's an offensive foul on Jamel Allen.
Foul is 15, Jamel Allen. Third personal, 5th on the team.
That's a good call, because you can get beat. You don't have to be squared up on the offensive player to take that charge. And again, now that's the key. When you play this type of pressure, Gary, you have to stay with the play, because you're going to get beat, but you got to get yourself back in position after you do get beat.
Terrence Smith into the game for UConn. UConn seems to have gotten out of the rhythm a little bit. That's Xavier Bishop dumping it back for Jamel Allen, who's going to shoot two. UConn women's basketball going to host Southern Connecticut State. It's an exhibition game Thursday, November 15th at 7 p.m. downtown Hartford. Get your tickets today, beginning at just $12 at UConnTickets.com. UConn women's basketball, the basketball capital of the world. Many of them on hand here for the UConn men's game after the UConn women got a win over Ohio State in this building earlier today.
Brendan Adams, 0, Eric Cobb.
So what do you make of a regular season game, then an exhibition game, and then back to the regular season again?
I make that it's Gino's magic. It doesn't matter. You know, the season started a little bit earlier this year, so you know, obviously you have issues with the building and scheduling teams and television contracts and all of that go with it. So.
Christian Vital cannot get it to go down all of a sudden. He is now 1 of 8 from beyond the arc. And another Kangaroos turnover.
Some of these passes are just, there's no way they can be completed. UMKC, they've got some guys that can make plays, but teams we've had in the past, Gary, that you have a poor passing team, then how do you approach that? Well, I think probably the best way to approach it is don't pass. Do a lot of dribbling and space the floor, a lot of ball screen stuff, and try to just attack off the bounce.
Brendan Adams from Jalen Adams. Terrence Smith. UConn is just 2 of 12. Now make it 2 of 13 from the field here in the second half, and 0 of 7 from beyond the arc. Back the other way comes UMKC, and Jordan Giles going to shoot 2.
Well, by them not scoring, it's allowed UMKC to get out in transition, and it hasn't allowed UConn to get up into their pressure into the full court. So UMKC doing a pretty good job of just matching the toughness now of the Huskies.
Four points now for Jordan Giles, who averaged double figures a season ago, but came in averaging just 3 points a game through UMKC's opening 2 games of the season. But UConn does look out of sync.
Well, UMKC's doing a very good job defensively. They're rotating, they're getting out in the passing lanes, and there you go, Eric Cobb.
Second bucket of the game now for Eric Cobb. He's got 4 points.
Now, he spent most of last season floating around the perimeter thinking that he was stretch 4, but he's a guy that can make plays around the basket.
They got Yakwe on the foul. That's his second.
Cobb is much better shape, as we noted earlier, and that allows him to just catch it in traffic and elevate quickly.
Well, Cobb's still listed at about 245 pounds, and that's after losing in the neighborhood of 35 pounds. So he has really slimmed down, but is still a big man out there.
Nice
quick hands. Jalen Adams, the steal, gliding in, and the two-hand stuff.
That's great overplay on the defensive end, and allows them to do this, get up in their pressure with the full court.
Jalen Adams now in double figures, one of 2 Huskies. In doubles, he's got 10 points. Wow, Nasty screen right there. Jordan Giles getting all the way to the basket, bucket, and the foul. Lear Lee came up to set a big screen, but look at Jalen Adams getting out into the open floor, reading the passing lanes, the quick hands, finishing with authority. UConn leads big. UConn shooting just 27% in this second half, but they still lead it by 17. Let's pitch it over to Maria. She's with a very special guest.
Thanks, Gary. Yes, I'm joined by the Hall of Famer, Coach Bob Hurley Sr., and of course, Dan Hurley's father. How excited were you for your son to get this opportunity to coach at such a storied program?
Well, you know, this is as high a level as you can get at the college game, and, you know, we're very proud, and we're really excited to watch this unfold, and it's been really cool so far.
Were you more nervous to watch your sons play basketball or to watch them currently as coaches?
It's easier now watching them coach. And it's funny, maybe I'm a little more advanced than the fans, but not so much. I kind of sit here and I watch, you know, momentum shifts and the personnel, and it's fun. Oh no, it was much worse when they played because you were leaning every shot attempt, every substitution, you worried about it.
When you watch Dan, do you notice any tendencies that he does that sort of remind you of yourself?
Probably intensity on the sideline is probably one, and I think getting the kids. He really's got new kids in a short period of time to play hard, and they're really playing well defensively. And I think they'll get a little more of an identity the longer that they play together at the offensive end.
Have you given him any advice since he started this new role?
Only when asked. I do answer questions when asked, but that's what the staff is for, and I got a very good staff. So I think my role is maybe more to be a proud dad than to be a consultant for the UConn program.
You know, one of his players is Terrence Smith, and you actually coached him back at St. Anthony's High School. What can you tell us about Terrence? He had a great first half, 15 points in 11 minutes.
Yeah, you know, I knew he'd be a good addition here because he's mature. You know, he's graduated already, and he was a disciplined kid in high school and a talented kid. And he was going to bring some intensity and some understanding of playing high basketball IQ, and I think the people here are going to really like what they get from him.
Well, interesting. Just got a dunk, actually. But let's take it back to you, Coach. What are you doing now? How are you spending your time and keeping busy?
Well, there are a lot of kids who play for me that play in college, so I'm trying to keep up with them. And we started a foundation, the Hurley Family Foundation, which actually opens up the gym we used to practice in. And we get kids from all over the Jersey City, Hudson County area, bring them in the afternoon, teach them how to play.
That's fantastic.
So I do that a couple of afternoons a week, and it's in the same gym. It's the same hours I used to practice. It's just nowhere near as intense. It's a little more now, basketball one-on-one.
Well, good to see you here, Coach. Thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure.
Back to you, Gary.
All right, Maria. Coach, we thank you both very much. Bob Hurley, Sr., enshrined in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. As he said, not so much a consultant, but a proud dad these days.
Well, I have to tell you, Gary, I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, feel sorry for the young coaches in college basketball that never got the opportunity to watch that man do his work, not only on the sidelines in games, but in practice. That's special.
We'll talk more about the Hurley family when we come back in a moment. UConn leading the University of Missouri Kansas City by 20 at 60-40, 66-46 with just under 10.5 minutes to go here in the second half. We heard Bob Hurley Sr., and there he is alongside his wife, and Dan's wife is sitting right in front, turned around right there. I mean, well, what a basketball family.
If we watch this in the Hurley home tonight, Dan is not going to be happy with Andrea. She's losing her focus a little bit, up 20 with 10.5 minutes to go. Need to be turned around and ready to get into a stance.
How about coaches trying to turn out a coaching tree from where they have been head coaches? Well, Dan Hurley, the head coach here at UConn, Bobby Hurley, the head coach at Arizona State. In one family, that's a pretty good coaching tree. This is Jalen Adams spotting in the left corner. Terrence Smith, and that one rattles in. And it's been a terrific game for Terrence Smith. He's now got 20 points.
Don't you know that Terrence Smith absolutely knows that his high school coach is watching? He's not watching just as a fan. I don't believe that for 1 second from Coach Hurley.
Another turnover. Here comes Connecticut. There's Terrence Smith gliding in, spotting. Cobb with a big two-hand stuff. Aaron Cobb finishing emphatically off the feed from Terrence Smith. Danny Hurley imploring his entire team to get up off the bench. Dixon with the shot clock at 10. McKissick back into the game. And they call a block on Cobb, and he's not too happy about it.
Block call 0, Aaron Cobb.
We get check right here. Drive of the game. It's presented by Nissan, and there's Terrence Smith giving it up for Eric Cobb, who finishes on the break. The guard rewarding the big man for running the floor.
No doubt about it. Terrence Smith's had a lot of opportunities on his own to score, but unselfish play at its best.
UMKC, number 13, Janelle Allen.
Brandon McKissick, 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Now make it 2 of 3 so far in the game. McKissick and Jalen Adams got tangled up in that nasty collision, but both are on the floor and apparently okay. UConn off and running, and that's an errant pass. Look at Dan Hurley once again over there to help up his player.
And Terrence Smith really was trying to dish the ball, and he fell down. He was off balance, but he's doing a great job of just getting himself flying up the floor, attacking the rim.
A lot of dribbling by Xavier Bishop. Quick hands, Gilbert. Gilbert gliding in, can't finish, but Terrence Smith right there for the follow.
Terrence Smith.
This is the largest lead of the game now for Connecticut. Back the other way, McKissick, bucket, and the foul as Yakwe hits the deck very hard.
Well, to see Alterique Gilbert just do this, UConn has to be so pleased just that he's getting out, he's pushing the pace. Defensively, he is harassing at the top and then elevating at the rim. He didn't finish that time, but a year ago, every time he crashed to the floor, it was like he winced in pain. That time, he just smiled. He bounced right back up.
And McKissick, 1 foul shot.
That last foul on Kasum Yakwe, that was his 4th foul. He's going to the bench. Josh Carlton has come back in as McKissick completes the 3-point play.
Number 4, Danny Dixon.
Josh Carlton, he's got 9 points and 4 rebounds after his 17-point, 8-rebound opening night performance. Might have gotten away with a travel, and it's a steal by McKissick. Here come the Kangaroos. Spinning out of control, completely out of control is Jordan Giles, but it's going to stay with UMKC. Although the officials and Dan Hurley are conferring, and they rightly changed the call as Giles was simply out of control.
Graham Richardson says, wait a minute. Can we talk about that travel down the other end? Everybody in the building saw but the 3 guys with stripes, but you know, this is what happens when you're the aggressor. You get the calls.
Gilbert pulling up from beyond the arc, and that's nothing but net for Alterique Gilbert. He's now got 9 points, and he's 2 of 3 from distance. And Gilbert called on the bump. His second personal. And UConn is now over the limit, and so
double bonus, 10th team foul.
Xavier Bishop, double bonus, going to shoot 2.
Throws, Xavier Bishop.
Bishop led UMKC in scoring a season ago, a little bit under a dozen points per game. He's got 8 points tonight, and he's listed again at 5'8", but I think that is very generous.
Yeah, their guards are quick. They're just not good decision makers with the basketball. But UMKC wants to have a good season. I would think that they want to get up and pressure people, trap a little bit, kind of play like UConn does. They have some big guys that can protect the basket in the back of the press as well.
We're coming up on 8 minutes to go here in the second half. All UConn over University of Missouri, Kansas City, 76-52. That's Jalen Adams, and man, he is feeling it.
There's a lot of confidence right now on both ends of the floor with this team, and it starts down here though. The defense is just harassing, communicating, doing a great job of rotating.
Well, Giles trying to go backdoor, but cut off along the baseline. Bishop cannot bury the 3, and back come the Huskies. Here comes Jalen Adams, spotting Vitale. Jalen Adams. And he's bumped on his way to the bucket. So all UConn here in Storrs. They lead at 79-52, and the many faces of the UConn head coach.
He looks mad, but inside he is very happy. 20-point lead, excuse me, 27-point lead, Dan.
We get a look right now. The game reset presented by Foxwoods, all Connecticut. They lead at 79-52 with 7:22 to go here in the second half. It's been a breakout night for Terrence Smith.
Well, the 6th man of the year in the Atlantic 10. Soon to be maybe the 6th man of the year in the American Conference, but keeps playing like that. You know, I think Dan likes bringing him in off the bench, and it's you could see it's worked so far. And as Coach Bob Hurley told Maria, it's just like he has that maturity, and he's always had that maturity. Now he's had that experience as a player. He's played for that man, and now he's really had a lot of experience playing at high levels, and just looks so comfortable early in the season.
So a season ago, UConn scored 80 points in a game in regulation once. They've now hit 80 tonight. That's back-to-back 80-point performances through the opening 2 games of the season. So more efficient offensively.
Well, and it's really caused, Gary, by the defense as well. You're correct. The offense is much more efficient, but the defense is just harassing. They're getting a lot more opportunities than their opponents, and they're rebounding the ball well, but they're causing turnovers and creating a lot of havoc.
Jamel Allen from 3. He's got 7 points now for UMKC. Carlton, good position. Bumped on his way to the bucket by Alir Leak. He'll shoot 2. So 3 guards on the court right now for Connecticut, and there's Brendan Adams and Terrence Smith. They've got a luxury of many guards, but it's rotation and figuring out combinations that's going to be an ongoing process for Dan Hurley.
I think he has it in his mind who he wants to play. Quentin Williams looks like he's out of the rotation. Isaiah Whaley injured, played solid the other night. Can give him another backup wing. He can go to him as well, but he likes skill guys, so you're going to see a lot of 3 guards, at least 3 guards on the floor most of the time, and then sometimes they'll go to the 4th.
Mamadou Diarra, somebody who has not suited up so far this season. He's going to be out until probably mid-December after tearing a meniscus during the offseason. But he's a terrific rebounder, somebody who will give them more depth up front when he comes back. Shot clock under 10. Bishop completely out of control, and he travels back over to UConn.
Well, again, UMKC just can't get into their offense because they're trying to enter the ball to the wing, but nobody's open, nobody's home, and they've struggled with their ball screen offense as well, because UConn has done a great job of hedging out and then rotating up to still deny the wing.
UMKC coming off a defeat on Thursday, lost to Iowa 77-63. They kept it close through most of the game, but it has not been the case here tonight against UConn. Christian Vitale turns it over, back the other way. Steve Dully pulls it back out. And quick hands by Gilbert to knock it away.
Well, the amount of deflections and just harassment, you know, they call it tracing the basketball. That means getting your hands up in the face of the offensive player. And it's a constant with UConn defensively, even with their bigs. Look at that. Carlton denying the ball 35, 40 feet from the basket.
They've got to be in very good shape to be able to play this way.
Oh, you have to be in the best of shape. There's no doubt about it. And you can see their bodies. They're doing the right thing. There's no doubt about it.
Jalen Adams working off the screen, knocks down a three.
They are in rhythm, Gary, with their cuts, their screens, and their shots.
Dixon completely out of control. Christian Vitale goes into the cheerleader section.
I mean, I know it's a Sunday evening, but this is like a Sunday afternoon in the park by yourself, just on a nice hot July day, just warming up. It's just fluid.
Well, Jalen Adams leads everybody. He's got 20 on 7 of 10 shooting, and he's 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. I'll take it back. Terrence Smith has 22, but Adams now with 20. That's Whitfield. Rob Whitfield, the three-pointer. That's his first bucket of the game. Gilbert off the feed from Jalen Adams.
Great recognition by Jalen Adams. He saw the weak side corner defender cheat to defend the roll man down the middle of the floor. Just the tremendous presence of mind just to jump up and find the open man in the opposite corner.
Gilbert now in doubles. He's got a dozen, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. And there's another turnover as Gilbert started it. Cobb back the other way off the feed from Jalen Adams, and it rolls around and drops in. 7 steals now for UConn in the game. Well, UConn looks to run it every occasion. That one's knocked away from behind by Jamel Allen. Might have been a travel. Dully giving it back to Giles. And it's going to stay with UMKC.
Now you better find that open man, and you better run if you're going to play UConn for UConn. And Eric Cobb has shown that he can get into the rotation and run the floor. Little rim run. Great delivery.
Make sure to keep it right here after the final whistle for the People's United Bank postgame show. I'll be joined by Vin Parisi and Tariq Turner. Plenty of reaction from this one, including Dan Hurley's postgame news conference. So make sure to stick around after the game is over. Gentlemen, back to you guys.
Michelle, we thank you. It's been all UConn here, and UMKC not shooting it that badly, 44% on the night, but they still are trailing by 29. What a night it's been for Jalen Adams. Before this season began, Dan Hurley talked about the fact he wanted Jalen Adams to show grit. He said if he can put his talent along with grit, he can be the sort of player that Kemba Walker was here and that Shabazz Napier was here at UConn.
Well, Gary, it's interesting to see, you know, when you get pushed, like this staff has pushed this team since day one, you know, you want to see some reward. And at times, Jalen Adams has not been totally 100% focused every minute of every day. And that's what Dan Hurley expects from his best player, because if your best player doesn't do it, then it's going to be hard to push everybody. So he's going to push Jalen Adams, and so far they're getting that reward in the first two games. So they can build on this, no doubt.
Quentin Williams, number 22, is checked into the game. First time this season he's seeing action. Caleb Roy also onto the floor for the first time for UMKC and greeted rather rudely. Under 3 minutes to go here, second half. Dixon. Christian Batal, the rebound. That's his 10th rebound of the game from the guard position.
Well, message delivered from Dan Hurley. I think he wants him to be more of a complete player, not just a guy that just stands in the perimeter and takes jump shots. He's been very active on the glass and also on the attack off the bounce.
We got check upcoming schedule here for the Huskies. Following tonight's game, they're on their way to New York City, going to take on Syracuse on Thursday, and then either Oregon or Iowa on Friday. Both of those games at Madison Square Garden. Then we're back here on SNY with Cornell and New Hampshire after that. But I think we're going to find out a little bit more about UConn when they head down to the Big Apple.
Well, there's no doubt about it, but they're playing with a lot of confidence. And you know, they're a team that's going to steal some wins this year. There's no doubt about it, because playing this style, there's going to be teams that they match up against that feel very uncomfortable playing against this type of defense. And that's where it starts with them. And then Jalen Adams, Dan Hurley talked about him earlier in this preseason. We need him to be a 20-point-a-night guy. And he's showing that he can be that with some help. And a year ago, he had to take a lot of shots and the burden was on him, but he didn't have any help. Now he has some help, and it starts with the point guard spot, and also Terrence Smith tonight has shown he can be a big offensive scorer for them.
Christian Batal checks out. Tammy Ayagbusi checks in as Dan Hurley goes to the walk-ons. You know, Christian Batal, not a good offensive game. 2 of 13 from the floor, but those 10 rebounds and the little things, right? When you're not scoring, you still need to do those other things, and that's what makes a coach want to keep you on the floor.
He's been nasty defensively, too. Just out on the perimeter on the overplay, ball pressure, and he's made some good passes.
Brendan Adams can't finish in the lane as we're under 2 minutes. Dully. There's Ayagbusi getting it out for Brendan Adams, who tried to put it up there for Quentin Williams, and Adams gets it back and scores. First bucket of the game for the freshman. That's Suggs back the other way for UMKC. He'll have a chance at a three-point play.
Good little low post move on the attack. Rockway didn't hold his ground.
Another of the walk-ons, Daniel Brock, has checked in here for UConn as we've got a $1:35 to go. Brock out of West Hartford, Connecticut, so he's a hometown guy.
Now UConn lineup number 40, Daniel Brock.
Quentin Williams fighting for that rebound. We've spoken about him in the past, young man from Anchorage, Alaska. Whenever there's a dunk contest here at UConn, he's the winner. He's got an incredible, a 48-inch vertical leap. I mean, he can go up.
Playing your games at the Reebok Club, Gary.
I'd like him on my team there. Lucy, the quick pass to Williams. Getting it back to Polly, beating the shot clock, and he does so in style. Three-pointer for Tyler Polly. He's got a dozen. He's knocked down 2 threes on the night.
Polly looks very comfortable tonight, not only from the outside, but doing other things besides being just a standstill shooter.
Post-game show coming up when we're done here in Storrs, Connecticut. Michelle Yu, Tariq Turner, Vin Parisi back in our studios in New York City. It's been all UConn. They've shot 55% here in the second half and 54% from the game. And we've spoken about the fact that they need to shoot threes better this year. They've done it tonight. They're 12 of 27 from beyond the arc at 44%.
Well, they've done it within the context of their offense as well. I just really like the way they've spaced the floor. They have a great recognition of where they are supposed to be on the floor. They make the extra pass, and very evident early in the game. They had a double on the box, down low. They went back out to the corner, and the ball never hit the floor. Got all the way to the other side of the floor for an open three.
Final 35 seconds here at Gamble Pavilion. So again, UConn on their way to Madison Square Garden, and UMKC going to take on a team that UConn played last, Morehead State, on Friday.
25, Steve Gully shooting 2.
It'll be interesting now on the big stage. You know, some of these players that haven't been in primetime spots yet. Even an Tariq Gilbert, who only played 9 games the last 2 years, to step up, and that's where guys like Terrence Smith and Jalen Adams are so important with this. Some of the younger players, to get them to understand how to relax and how to play with that same confidence on the big stage in the Garden.
Guy like Terrence Smith going back home, played for Bob Early at St. Anthony, and getting a chance to play the Mecca. Final 15 seconds here. Dan Hurley, he never stops working. The officials, never stops coaching.
It's pleasantries now. Setting him up for the next time he's done shows. But very impressive evening from UConn. Tapped a buzzer. Very hard to find any fault with this performance.
UConn Huskies get the win over University of Missouri Kansas City 94-66. It was all Huskies throughout the entire game. They once again put 4 in double figures, led by Terrence Smith. He had 22. Jalen Adams had 20. And then Tyler Polly and Tariq Gilbert had a dozen apiece. UConn 17 assists on their 35 made baskets, so very unselfish. We get check right now. Your player of the game. It's presented by People's United Bank. And it's Terrence Smith, so efficient offensively. He had those 22 points, but he did so on 10 of 12 shooting.
Just a smart, confident, experienced player. A huge addition to this program. And just always took his shots in control, and while still playing great defense on the other end.
Let's send it over to Maria. She's with the head coach right now.
Thank you, Gary. Coach, congrats on another win. You led wire to wire in this one. Did it feel like more of a complete game than the opener?
Yeah, I mean, we still had probably a couple of pockets, you know, in the beginning of the second half, some lulls, you know, in the first half where we, you know, kind of lost our rhythm. We're a little flat, but overall, you know, with where we've been to where we are right now, you know, against a team that, you know, played Iowa pretty well just a couple of days ago, I felt real good about the performance.
How about the effort from your bench tonight, and in particular, Terrence Smith? Yeah,
Terrence, you know, I've known Terrence since he was probably seventh or eighth grader. He picked my father's high school over my high school when I was at St. Benedict's. My dad was St. Anthony, so that's why I bring him off the bench, to punish him for that. But he's such a valuable piece. You know, he's obviously a 6 starter, and just invaluable what he does at the defensive end, and his ability to score and get in the paint is, you know, A-10 6th man of the year last year, so you know he's high quality.
Love it. Looking ahead, big game coming up against Syracuse. What kind of challenges will that present?
Well, you know, I'm going to be up late thinking about the rebounding. Wasn't happy with the rebounding again, again today, and that's one of the big challenges against such a long, athletic team. But I was happy that we shot the ball from 3 well at times here today, and obviously against that Syracuse zone, you're going to have to make shots. But Syracuse, UConn at the Garden, that's pretty fun to be a part of.
Can't wait. Congrats on the win, and thank you, Coach. Back to you, Gary.
All right, Maria, going to be a good one Thursday night in New York City. Eric Cobb finishing on the break. UConn 94-66. We're back from Stores in a moment. UConn men's basketball on SNY is brought to you by Town Fair Tire. Every brand at the guaranteed lowest price. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. By Masonicare Residential Living Communities. Visit Masonicare.com. And by Ford, for great deals on Ford trucks and SUVs, stop by your local Ford store. UConn Huskies get the win over UMKC. The Kangaroos 94-66. UConn goes to 2-0 on the season. The next UConn men's game here on SNY going to be Tuesday, November 20th. Huskies take on Cornell. Our coverage getting underway here on SNY at 6:30. And our first UConn women's game will be this Saturday from Mohegan Sun against Vanderbilt. Our coverage beginning at 5:30, again right here on SNY. And so for Tim Welsh, Maria Marino, our producer, to our Guilfoyle director, John DeMarsico, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Apple. We thank you for watching. We join Michelle, Tariq, and Vin. People's United Bank postgame live right now.